All right, we'll get started with Ole Miss. We'll take an opening statement from Coach Bianco and then have questions for the student athletes. Once we'll wrap that up, we'll dismiss them and then have questions for Coach. Coach, go ahead.
I thought, tremendous game by them. Campbell was terrific today. Offensively, they were terrific. And, one of the things that we've talked about it with our media, talked about it with the team, when you get to this point, everybody's really good. And it comes down to playing well, and boy, did they play well today. Unfortunately, we were the opposite. We just didn't have an answer on the mound. Offensively, Campbell was just too much for us. We just didn't get any swings off, couldn't get to his fastball today, and he really just ran through us, for 8 innings. So it's really the ball game.
All right, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you for questions for the student athletes. Right here in front.
Will, it just wasn't working for you today. What was the process for you, and why were you not able to find it, do you think?
They just swung it well. They really I think they hit each pitch that I had very well. Wasn't able to locate my pitches very well, and just, not my day today, and they took advantage of it.
Bob?
Greg, when you get that home run in the first inning, you think, well, maybe Campbell won't have his A game today, and what were you thinking after that, and then what made him so tough the rest of the way?
Yeah, got the one in the first inning, and he's really good. So we knew that every pitch we were gonna have to battle. Just because I got one out of the yard doesn't mean he was gonna give in, and from then on he just kept making pitches. I mean, in the 8th inning, I still think he hit like a 95 or 96, so he competed all the way to the end, and ultimately we just couldn't get enough swings off, and he was good today.
Great, y'all been here before as far as facing elimination. There's 3 days in the SEC tournament. So what's the mindset of this team as far as maybe flushing this one and just moving on to the next?
Yeah, this one's over. Got to come out tomorrow and just play one pitch at a time. You can't control anything. What's happened. You can't control what's going to happen tomorrow in the 5th inning. All you can control is what you do, the first pitch of the game, and just take it from there. And then just be ready to go, and stay having confidence in one another, and we'll be all right in the end.
Okay.
Gray, you had a pretty tough collision in the 6th inning with Cole. How are you feeling?
I feel fine. I just kind of took my breath away for a second.
Bob?
Greg, I mean, when you guys were here back in March, you lost the first game to Campbell, then you came back and won the next 2. Does that history, does that help you guys, or how do you feel about your chances now?
Yeah, I think this team plays well with their backs against the wall. And you look at the SEC tournament, what we did last time we were here, and this team just they step up to the challenge. We pick each other up, and like I keep saying, we just go one pitch at a time. You don't worry about the end result, and just control what you can control. And this team does a really good job of that.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Gentlemen, thank you. All right, same thing for Coach Bianco. Raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll start right here with Parrish.
Mike, what did you think of Gray when you were watching, of Will, when you were watching him early? Did you think he didn't have his stuff?
Yeah, it's tough unless you see the tape, because it's hard to see location. 2 things that I think happened without watching the tape is first, when you watch that first inning, what 2 great at bats by Ezel and Martin to start the game. Ezel with runs at the full count, pops a double down the left field line, and then Martin with 2 strikes and gets to Will's fastball in, which not a lot of guys do, pulls a base hit. And then they had, and not taking anything away from him, but some good fortune. Ball chops over, Zebo's head. I'm not sure. I think it was Kenley, hit a, fly ball that, gets up in the wind and blows out of there. And, and all of a sudden, went from 1-0 to 4-1 in a hurry. And then, of course, the crowd's into it. Next inning, we make an error. We were not able to get off the field. Then it gets the 6-1. But then after that, offensively they just took over, and so I think it was a combination of a few things. I think one, we fell behind, didn't make some pitches early in the count, drove counts. We pitched in some disadvantage counts for our pitchers, and two is some of the ones that I saw on the board were just good pitches. Pitches that they hit, pitches that I think they've made adjustments over, as much has been said that we've played them 5 times. Well, we've pitched them, similar. And, today they made some adjustments on some balls in. I thought they had a really good approach offensively.
Bob?
I guess assuming you're starting
We
Nukese tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm not butchering his name. I know he's had a great year. Dave, I think, said he thinks voted him for Freshman of the Year. Just what are you looking for out of him tomorrow in the season he's had?
Well, we need a great effort. We need somebody to give us some length, put some zeros up. That didn't happen today, against a really good offense. I think one of the things to being able to compete here is you got to be able to put zeros up on the board, and we weren't able to do that. So hopefully you can get off to a good start, live in some better counts, make a few better pitches, and put some zeros up.
Same thing I asked Gray. Y'all have been in this position before as far as facing elimination. They did in the SEC tournament. What's been the difference with this team as far as backs against the wall, being able to respond?
I think they get it, and they realize that it just comes down to controlling what you can control. And I know it sounds so mundane and so coaches speak, but it's the truth. And tomorrow it's about winning the first pitch and winning the first out and moving on. And we like you said, we've been in some of these situations, either losing the first game or being in the losers bracket of the SEC tournament. So this team's felt that a little bit and has been able to play well. But it's different playing at this place against this team. They're real good.
Tom?
Yeah, Mike, just kind of following up on that, you lost the first game here in the series, so message to the team, hey, we've been here before, we've done this against these guys.
I think they know that. I mean, they get it. I think we're making a little more out of that than needs to be. I mean, they get it, and I think everybody gets it. But you still got to win the baseball games.
Just over the rest of the hours today to help them flush it, or do you just trust them to know
No,
what to
I
do
think they'll
individually?
be able to do that. I think they get it. This stings a little bit, right now, but they all sting. This is not how you draw it up. You wanted to win game 1 and game 2 and move on, and but at the end, they played really well and beat us up today, 11-2. But the score is maybe as lopsided as it was. It's just a win, and you got to be able to flush that, like Gray said, and move on to the next day. Try to figure out on the mound, we got to figure out how to get some outs.
Eric?
Coach, you hit on Isaiah Campbell a little bit. This guy's been lights out in the postseason really all year. Can you kind of talk more about, especially coming after you got a home run on him in the first inning?
Yeah, he's real good. And, guys that are power arms are going to give up some home runs, I think, especially in this ballpark. But shows you, what a great competitor and what a true ace he is. I think, Gray hits a home run and then he strikes out, Keenan, in the next at bat. And then we really don't threaten, the rest of the game. And, he's – I've said it all year. He's a true ace in our league. Three plus pitches and uses them all. Uses his fastball on both sides. He'll throw in. He'll pitch backwards when he needs to. He's really good, and he can be a force out there. Especially with the lead.
Bob?
Casey Martin was really struggling in Hoover and first couple games in their regional, and he kind of broke out a little bit the last game and had a good game. How big is he for Arkansas's line if he gets it going again?
You need to ask Dave that. He's a good player. He's a good player.
Grant?
The catch by Olenek in center field. Does he do that often? And also
6'5" with a pretty good vertical, and he's a super athlete. And I'm 400 plus feet away, and it probably looks even better on TV. But just tremendous play from a really good athlete.
And then your catcher was blocking pitches in the dirt down 10-1, and
just proud of him. The our beat writers that see us play, you can't say enough about Cooper Johnson. I mean, much is said about the arm and throwing people out, but just the way he receives, the way he blocks the ball, and in a game like this, you're right. With some of those younger guys on the mound, and sticking his body in front of it and wearing a lot of pitches. It's one of the things. Take it from an old catcher. Everybody talks about squatting. It's not squatting. It's all those balls that hit you in the forearm and the throat and everywhere else that nobody really sees. That's what makes it so hard. So to do it, when you're down by 10, in 90-degree heat, he's sensational back there.
Any more questions for Coach Bianco? Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you.